Well, good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. Today is Friday, May 12th, 2023. We get together with our distribution partners most weekday mornings at this time to talk about strategies, tips, techniques, share success stories, and support each of you. Our goal today is to do some flat out process training just to confirm what is the process and, of course, answer your questions. We rolled out earlier this week the fact that we're hiring small business consultants. Small business consultants, of course, pay nothing to get signed up. They can be W-2 full-time employees with us where they receive benefits, or they can be 1099 independent contractors and work with a flexible schedule. So if anyone is interested in becoming a small business consultant, you'll go ahead and fill out this page for us here, because the comp model comes off the Opportunity Fund. If you've recently signed up as a small business consultant, welcome aboard. We're going to do some very relevant training for you today. So the primary thing that small business consultants do, because they certainly don't sell anything to anyone, what they do is they conduct an analysis of each small business. And there's a specific process that we go through to conduct that analysis, and then what to do with the small business owner after the analysis is completed. So let's go through that briefly. On the Startup Business Funding Package page at the very bottom, you'll see the 6-question funding checklist. We've had a training on this previously, but you can click on this and it'll bring up the training from May 4th. But most specifically, it has this checklist. What is the purpose of this checklist? This checklist helps us objectively identify if the small business is ready to go to funding. In other words, is the small business itself credible? Now, if we're trying to get a personal loan, this is irrelevant, but our bread and butter, what you and I do, is we help individuals get their businesses qualified for funding. How do we determine objectively if they're qualified for funding? We take them through this 6-question funding checklist. So let's just briefly go through it. I know we've had a training on it before, but we want to train on the process. So if you're one of our new small business consultants, this is literally what you'll do, is you'll go to the Startup Business Funding Package page, download this checklist that looks just like this. Timothy already has the first question. Timothy asks, where do we find the people to take through the process? We can provide you leads. If you're a small business consultant, we have a plentiful amount of small business owners that are approaching us through our other outreach efforts that are looking for funding. So if you're a small business consultant and you need leads, we can provide the leads, or certainly you can go develop your own. Thank you, Timothy, for that question. But now, let's say that you have a lead, and however you receive them, either we provided you a leads list or you organically generated your own. What we need to do, because we know that they're looking for funding, right? The small business is looking for funding. It wants or needs funding. The question is, are they ready for funding? So let's briefly go through the checklist. Question number 1 is, do you have a commercial address? As explained here, does your business have a unique commercial address? Not residential, not a post office box, not one of those shared office addresses where a bunch of businesses have the same suite number, none of those. And do you have a lease ready to present to the lender? Because in many cases, the lender is going to ask for validation. So there's only one of 2 answers to this, right? We don't need to have a long, drawn-out discussion with the prospective client. Either yes, they have a unique address and they have the lease on hand, or they don't. If it's yes, then we can go ahead and proceed. If it's no, then we probably should consider offering them involvement in the Startup Business Funding Package, which, of course, is the page here. Each of you that are a small business consultant, you have your own link, you have your own replicated website, looks just like this. So of course, if you direct someone here and they enroll, then you get credit. but that's not where we're at. Okay, so commercial address, yes or no? There's no middle ground. It's yes or no. Secretary of State, is your business formed and in good standing with the Secretary of State? It's either yes, great, let's proceed, or no. And if no, what do we want to do? We probably would recommend getting them into the Startup Business Funding Package because we provide these things for free. Okay, question 3, business credit worthiness. Is your business currently credit worthy by having a Paydex score of 80 plus with Dun & Bradstreet and a minimum of 4 trade lines reporting under your EIN? There's only one of 2 possible answers. Yes, I have it, or no, I don't. And if they don't, then you probably want to recommend the Startup Business Funding Package because we help them with that for free. This is free. You could go to a company like Credit Suite, S-U-I-T-E, great company, nothing but positive things to say about them in Florida. However, be prepared to pay thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for them to do the same thing that is provided for free through the grant. Next, is your business liquid? So again, let's stop. Why are we taking the prospect through these questions? We are trying to determine if they are ready to go to funding right now. And if they are, I'm going to show you exactly how we handle that. If they're not, then most likely we should get them into the Startup Business Funding Package. So what's happening here? We're pre-qualifying the small business for funding, which is what they want, but we're also probably kind of implicitly accomplishing some financial literacy training because most small business owners don't know what you know. And they want money, but if they don't qualify, they're not going to get approved. So by going through this checklist, we're helping them understand what does it take to be qualified? Are you qualified? And how we can help you get qualified if you're not. Okay, question 4. Is your business liquid? Does your balance sheet reflect liquidity? Liquidity is defined as cash plus cash equivalents, so we can get qualified for a business loan. There's only one of 2 answers. Right? There's not an other on any of these. It's either yes, proceed, or no, let us help you fix it. So if they say, oh, I don't have a balance sheet, then the answer is no, because obviously then a non-existent balance sheet can't reflect liquidity. So either it's yes, they have it, no, they don't. If they don't have it, we recommend the Startup Business Funding Package, and we can help them with that for free. You see the pattern? Pretty simple. Question 5, do you have documented collateral for a business loan? What does that mean? Does your balance sheet comes up again, does your balance sheet reflect adequate collateral? In other words, net assets to pledge. There's only one of 2 answers. Either yes, it does, then we proceed in the process, or no, well, we can help you with that with a Startup Business Package, funding package, and we do that for free. Okay, we see the pattern. Now we're down to question 6. Do you have capacity to repay a business loan? There's only one of 2 answers. It's either yes or no. And well, of course, here's the explanation. Does your income statement, so we're on to a different financial statement. We're not on balance sheet. Now we're talking about what's called profit and loss or income statement. Does your income statement reflect cash flow to afford the requested loan amount? And that's where I was at, either yes or no. So very simple to walk a client through. You can, as a small business consultant, you can walk them through this in person. You can do it via Zoom. You can do it via phone call. You can do it with individuals. You can do it with groups. But best practice is let them see these questions. If you just ask them and they can't reference it, it's not as impactful. And people tend to multitask and they'll be playing Tetris or whatever, and they won't be with you. So we need to focus on taking prospective clients through these 6 questions to determine, are they ready for funding? If you don't have any leads to talk to, we can resolve that. We got plenty of leads, free. Don't sell leads, free. All right, so now what do we do? What's the process? Well, let me ask, are there any questions that you have about these 6 questions before we talk about what's next? And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, just type them into the Q&A of Zoom. It's like a chat box. Okay, so I think we're all on the same page. Straightforward. So if we get 6 yeses, that is freaking awesome. That means they're ready to proceed with business funding. What do we do then? Well, what we would do then is we would take them over to the home page, again, of your replicated website. We've provided each of you for free. A website looks just like this. You have your unique link. When you use that link to your website, it tracks back to you. So if we have someone that has 6 yeses, awesome. With no upfront cost, we can go get you access to funding. A minimum, no upfront cost, get you a minimum of $100,000. And so you're going to help them fill this out. Preferably, you want them to fill this out, because when they put in their first name, last, email, and phone and hit get started, it's going to take them to the next step, which is terms and conditions. They agree to that. Bam, they're a client. Now we're going to help them get their loan package put together because they meet the criteria, which we covered over here. We're going to put their loan package together. We're going to take them to funding. We'll be able to get their first tranche of funding, most likely in 24 to 48, maybe 72 hours. How much do they pay up front? $0. How much do you make through this path? $3,000. Whoa, where'd that come from? We pay you 3 points of their capital raise. We guarantee them a minimum of $100,000 capital raise. 3% of 100,000 is 3,000. So if you take someone through this checklist and you get 6 yeses, not 5 yeses, not 4 yeses, 6 yeses, next step, direct them over here on your website. They'll fill this out. They'll hit get started. It'll take them to page 2, terms and conditions. They agree. They pay nothing up front, nothing up front, nothing up front. They pay nothing up front. They pay nothing until after their first tranche of funding. You make 3,000. 3% of their $100,000 capital raise. If they get more than 100,000, you get 3% of whatever it is. If they get 200,000, then you get 6,000. So this is the process if someone answers yes to those 6 questions. Make sense? Great. Now, let's say that they don't answer yes to those 6 questions. There's really 2 options. Either they go fix it, or they allow us to help them fix it, or they don't get funding. But let's ignore that. Let's assume that that's not an option. So essentially what we offer to do is, if we find that one or more of these are a no, then we let them know, hey, no worries. We have a great resource. It's a grant subsidized program called the Startup Business Funding Package. And we're going to provide you the pieces that you need to answer yes to all 6 of those questions. For free, we're going to make sure you have a unique business address, not a shared business address. For free, we're going to get your entity filed with the Secretary of State to make sure it's in good standing. For free, we're going to help you get your EIN. For free, we're going to help you build your business credit. We're going to transfer real assets over to your business's financials, so you have liquidity and collateral. And then also, as a bonus, you'll have geographic access to the Chapman Fund. There's a training video there that they can watch. You have them fill this out. So you can see that there's only 2 scenarios, right? Either they answer yes to these 6 questions, or they don't. If they answer yes to these 6 questions, we don't want them to pay anything up front. We don't want to have any barriers of, oh, that's a scam. I already qualify for funding. Sure, you qualify. Now we're going to help you. We're going to put the loan package together, and you're going to pay 0 up front. 0 up front. No upfront cost. We call this access to capital. And you have them fill this out, accept terms and conditions. If we don't have 6 yeses, then we have a problem. We're not ready for business funding. They can either fix it themselves, or preferably they enroll into the Startup Business Funding Package, fill out this. We'll send them the Adobe package. We get them under contract, and you make 1,000. All right. So Alfred's asking, well, what if they enroll in the Startup Business Funding Package because they didn't have 6 yeses? We take care of that. Then we take them over to funding. Does he still get paid? Absolutely. You get paid off both. You get paid your $1,000 here, plus you're going to get paid your 3% here. But the point is, if they already qualify for funding based on these 6 yeses, we don't need to take them into the startup business funding package unless they want funding for a new business. All right, so that's the next question that Marcy has. Let's go back to the questions. Her question to us for this discussion is, well, what if they have, for instance, an entity already? Well, great. And we run into that. So they have an entity, but the entity doesn't have some of these other elements. The entity is not business credit worthy. The business is not liquid. The business does not have collateral. The business doesn't have the capacity to repay the loan. They still would enroll in this, and we can skip this step. So in other words, if they already have an entity that they want to use and they don't want us to form a new one, then we just won't. Let's go back to the description. We just would not do this. So this is highlighted. We would skip it. We can provide the rest. We just wouldn't provide that step. They're bypassing it. It's like if you go to the buffet and you don't want the salad, you don't have to take the salad. It doesn't change the program. You don't put salad on your plate. All right, so I want to turn it over to you all because it's designed to be remarkably simple. We want you to generate at least $1,000 a day as a small business consultant. If you don't have leads, we'll get you leads. A lot of you already have lead generation techniques. You're going to take people through the 6-step questionnaire. If it's 6 yeses, we're going to take them into access to capital, guarantee the funding. You make 3 points. How much do they pay up front? Nothing up front. If we don't have 6 yeses, we got a problem. So then we offer to help them. We offer to help them with the Startup Business Funding Package. All right, Harriet's asking about credit and funding. So I would look at this as 2 sides of the coin, Harriet. So on one side of the coin, we have the person. And if we want to help the person become credible, that's the credit and funding program, where we're helping the person improve their credit, helping the person improve their capacity, helping the person improve their collateral. On the other side of the coin is the business. And it may be that if they're jacked up personally, it might be easier and more direct and faster to not go try to clean up their personal file, but instead make sure that they have a strong business file. So we can come straight to the business funding package. We don't have to do credit and funding, but credit and funding builds credibility of the person. The Startup Business Funding Package creates a credible business. So if you understand that, makes it real simple. Don't have to do both. And you'll have some people that just say, I want to improve my personal credibility. And they may not use those words, but you know what it means. And then great. Okay, Charles, you get your hand up if you want to go ahead and type in the question. We can help you with that. Any of you that are new, small business consultants, welcome aboard. That is the very simple process that you'll go through. We can make sure you have leads. You should be able to help at least one person a day. That puts $1,000 a day into your pocket. If you're doing that as a 1099, we wire it to you the next day. If you want to be W-2, you get the full benefits. We've got health, dental, vision, short-term disability, long-term disability, group life, and 100% employer paid. We can set you up as a W-2 employee if you prefer, but W-2 employees are full-time, 1099 are flex time, so that's a big difference. All right, so let's see. Pia has a question if she signed up as a business consultant. And so, yes, I'd encourage you to follow up with us individually. You'll find our contact information, of course, at the bottom of the website, Pia, and we can review your circumstances. All right, so who has questions? This is remarkably simple. How do we help people? How do you make money? We take the lead that's looking for funding. We take them through the 6-question checklist. Where do we find the checklist? It's at the bottom of this page. It's ideal for them to see it, not just hear you ask them. You can do it online, in person, telephonically. I do it a lot telephonically. You'd say, well, how do they see it if it's telephonically? Let's just role play, and let's say it's Charles. I'd say, all right, Charles, understand that you're looking for funding. We need to see if you qualify. I need about 15 minutes of your time. Just going to go through 6 very direct questions to see if you qualify for business funding. If so, we will immediately proceed to funding. And of course, there is no upfront cost for us to help you with that. So let's go ahead and go through the questions. I would ask him to go to the Startup Business Funding Package page. Of course, you would give them your link versus the main page. I tell them to scroll down to the bottom. I ask them to open it up so they see exactly this. So I want them seeing it as I ask them the questions. If I have 6 yeses, great. We proceed directly to funding. I direct them over to the home page, walk them through. They enroll, but I walk them through it. If I have 1 or more no's, then I let them know we have a problem. We can help them correct that. The easiest and fastest and most successful way to do that is our grant subsidized startup business funding package. And then I walk them through filling out this form. Not selling them anything, helping them solve their problems, a very consultative approach. So who else has questions, comments, concerns on this process? Very straightforward, very successful. All right, yeah, so if you need leads, you need any other assistance, just reach out to us. You can call, you can email, you can text, but we can work with you individually in that regard. But our goal today is to have a refresher to make sure everyone understands the process, how direct it is, how transparent it is, how simple it is. And so just depend upon their goals. If they want business funding and they don't meet all the criteria, the Startup Business Funding Package is probably the right answer. They want funding and their business qualifies, which we went through the checklist, then just get them into access to capital, no upfront cost, no delays, let's go make it happen. If they have individual credibility issues, then optionally they could do the credit and funding program, helps them improve their personal credit for free, helps them have demonstrated capacity for free, and provides collateral to them for free. So hopefully that makes sense. Again, if you're not a small business consultant, but you'd like to become one, go to the Opportunity Fund page, fill out this form, and we can get you set up. Then we'll figure out if you want to be 1099 or W-2. We'll figure out if you need leads or you don't need leads. And then, of course, we're here together to train you as well as individual conversations. All right. Well, I think we've got ourselves a plan. Have a great weekend. Let's be productive, and I'll see you back Monday morning. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.